You're listening to Hey Pal, What's New with John, Alex, and Greg. Hey Pal, What's New is a product of Sack of Sin Entertainment. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and all other social media platforms. Hey Pal, What's New can be found on Spotify, Podbean, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and all other podcast locations. Or check us out at sackofsin.com or heypalwhatsnew.com. Warning, Hey Pal, What's New contains explicit content. John, Alex, and Greg are a pair of vulgar Gen Xers. If you are easily offended, please stop listening and go download a nice tame podcast like
The Multiverse Fancast.
You have been warned.
Guy got the girl pregnant with the vasectomy. How'd that happen?
How'd that happen?
Pre-cum!
Pre-cum? Pre-cum.
Hey, everybody. It's Hey Pal, What's New? I'm Greg. That's JohnAlex over there. Let's just start with what's new with you there, Sasquatch.
Well, it's no secret my daughter's driving, and
yes,
the other night she came home, and as a matter of fact, last night she comes home. She's got her friend with her.
Mm-hmm.
Start talking about this cat up the road. There's a cat up the road. We think it might be dead. So of course my wife, she jumps to action. She goes, "What are you talking about?" Kate always wants more details, and like nobody ever has more details.
Yeah, she probably drove by, saw the cat, like,
so
and then,
they walked up the street, and the last house from here on the left.
Last house on the left.
Just past it is a painter's tarp on the ground with a dead cat on it.
Ooh.
So we walked up there, and Kate came back, and then we went back up there with plastic bags. So that cat is actually in my freezer right now.
No.
It is in my freezer.
Shit. You're kidding me? You should just put it on the table.
No, it's in a black plastic garbage bag.
Oh.
Kate's going to bring it to work, and they're going to scan it and see if it's got a chip.
Oh.
And because if it has a chip, then they can track down who the owner actually is.
Oh. Oh, man.
All my pets are chipped.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What's that?
No.
Chip? What's that?
Oh, speaking of which, we'll get into that in the news. You ever heard about his latest nuptials?
Oh no, hold on.
Yeah.
So that's all that's new with me that's interesting to talk about is the dead cat in my freezer, people.
Dead cat in the freezer. We're gonna cut it up and have a snack later. Exactly. Yeah, my week, let's see. My week was actually pretty uneventful. I was supposed to have the girls this weekend, but they cute cats in the cradle. They had stuff to do.
I would have had it queued up.
I always just say that when they're like, "Oh, Dad, I was gonna come over, but like I got invited to go camping this weekend," and then the other one was like, "Oh, I'm going to a Halloween party," and I was just like, "And cute cats in the cradle."
Hey, let me ask you something. If you go camping, right, and you wake up in the morning with your pants around your ankles and Vaseline all over your asshole, are you telling anybody?
No.
You want to go camping?
How will you explain that? A dead man in your bed still smelling of cum.
I gave you that fucking softball.
You did.
Nah, this weekend we didn't really do much. I mean, my cats had fleas.
You know what? My chicken's got, I think, mites, the one that's been sick.
Oh, yeah. Like we have two indoor fucking cats. Like, how did they get, like, and they've had them before, but, like, they're just fucking, if you look at Onyx's butt, or like Binksy under my two cats, they were like balding.
Wow.
And we're like, they kept scratching, and we're like, because we gave them the flea med where you put it on the back or whatever, and we're like, okay. And then they just kept scratching, and we look under them, and they're freaking like, there's like 10 of them. Like, they were poor things. We ended up giving them the pill. Oh. And then they just start freaking.
Your cats are on the pill?
They're on the pill, so, come on over. But they start freaking out and stuff, and then they just, that pill, I don't know what it was, but it freaking killed them. We had to give them baths. You ever give a cat a bath?
No, thank you.
I felt so bad for them because they must have been in agony, because normally a cat with water, like some cats are, they're interested in faucets and shit like that, but for the most part we put them up to the sink and started washing them with Dawn. They didn't give a shit. They were just like, get this shit off me. But now they're good. Everything's good. We're clean. No crabs for me.
Okay.
But I did spend, the lonely weekend with the missus just watching a lot of movies. So we have a lot of movies to talk about, a lot of TV, not too much news, a trailer or two. We got lots of treats. Lots of treats to talk about.
Lots of tricks or treats.
Yeah. So you want to get into, we'll do the news and shit.
I hear this song. I feel like I'm supposed to be giving a blowjob.
John, you got any news?
Let's start the news off with this one. Yikes! So Burt Young is dead. We needed we were too cheap to write our own theme for the someone's dead, the death dedication. I
was like, what better than to just use the SOD?
That's right.
Like, come find us, pal. Don't worry about it.
I would love to hear the local unknown podcast sued.
I'll punch Scott Ian in the nuts. I don't give a shit. No, I love Scott Ian. He's great.
Yeah, Burt Young dead. Last seen, what did you say before? Last seen throwing a turkey out a window and beating up his sister.
Yeah, exactly. Bringing it back to the old first. I mean, Burt Young, man. I mean, just the Rocky movies alone.
Oh, yeah.
He was amazing. Back to School. He was in The Sopranos, too.
Yep.
He's a legend. Yeah, it was sad to hear about that. I mean, you know my rule. If I don't know that they're alive or not, and then I find out they're dead, I'm kind of like, oh, okay. Like, it sucks. Burt Young is awesome, but, like, I didn't know he was alive. So it's like,
Yeah, I thought that's from I thought they was dead.
Yeah.
Well, apparently, too, they announced it, but he had died, like, a week and a half before they announced it.
Oh, yeah.
He died on October 8th, and they didn't drop the news until, like, October 18th.
Wow. Well, he was a private guy. I mean, he wasn't really doing anything, I don't think, recently. I mean, I think the last thing I saw him in was Sopranos.
No.
And that was a while ago.
All right.
So, yeah, big ups to old Burt Young, man. Go into the freezer and, punch some meat, throw some turkeys out the window, beat up your sister. It's all good. Go have sexual relations with a robot, Paulie, Rocky IV, the one that they cut out. Have you seen the Rocky IV Stallone cut?
No.
He recut that movie, like, I'm gonna make it less stupid. They took out all the Polly robot shit, all the stupid shit. Tried to make it a little bit more serious, but, like, you can't polish that turd.
No.
Don't get me wrong, I fucking love that movie, Rocky IV. I mean, the montage. You gotta go.
Have a montage.
There's no easy way out. There's no shortcut home. Yeah. I fucking belted that out. I always do that to my kids. Like, stop singing. I'm like, you want me to really sing? And if I really push it, watch out. Like that. But yeah, big ups to Burt Young. Also, another death that...
Thigh master, inventor, and teen fantasy extraordinaire Suzanne Summers, not me, but...
Poor little wine out at the Regal Beagle.
Oh.
Suzanne Summers, old thigh master. Oh. She passed away, too.
Wow.
Well, we were talking about it before we got on mic, though. It's just like, I made the joke. I was like, how many batches did you lose on that freaking show? But I was more of a Janet.
Yeah. I don't like blondes.
No.
They're not my thing.
Me neither, really. I mean, I've had some blondes in my day, but I like them.
And I've had some blondes in my bed. No.
I like my coffee. I like my women like my coffee, dark and bitter.
That's right.
With a spoon in their ass.
With big fucking tits.
With big...
Bringing it back.
Yeah, bringing it back.
Apparently, and we're out of the dead thing? Apparently not.
Yeah.
Britney Spears in her book. She admitted her and Aquaman have something in common. No, she admitted that Justin Timberlake knocked her up at 19 and then she had an abortion.
Yeah. Was he in the...
Welcome to Hollywood?
I'm gonna fucking go to hell, but...
Who hasn't been knocked up by Justin Timberlake?
Was he in the room going, bye, bye, bye?
That's horrible.
I didn't want to go there, but that's it. I'm bringing sexy back. No, you're not. Yeah. We're off the rails. Sunday night, baby. Look at this big ass freaking coffee.
So, if you're just joining us, Britney Spears in her new book has admitted that she was impregnated by Justin Timberlake at the ripe age of 19 and promptly aborted said fetus. Okay, moving on.
I'm Kate's imaginary friend.
We'll get to that one.
Oh boy, yeah.
Speaking of that, Gen V has been renewed for another season.
Thank the Lord. I might even like Gen V more than the boys.
At this point,
I don't know. I mean, the boys are freaking awesome. They started it all, but this spinoff, most times you watch a spinoff, you're kind of like, okay. I
have to keep reminding myself this is college, not high school kids.
Yeah. So, we'll get into our review of Gen V in the TV portion of it. But they got renewed for another season, which is great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward for fucking season 4 of The Boys, for God's sakes. When the hell is it?
I don't know.
And then next week, is it next week? Invincible season 2.
Yeah,
that's coming out. Can't wait for that shit.
Well, nothing new is coming out on fucking Disney TV anytime soon because apparently their TV division is fucked. And they attribute a lot of it to all the money that Disney Plus has lost.
Yeah. I mean, they're talking about, there's this new book that came out about the MCU, and they're just dishing dirt about all that's, how when Chapek was in, they always love to, like, people
throw the old guy on the bus.
Yeah, like Pixar and Lucasfilm, they announce all this shit that never happened, and now they're blaming Disney. Like, Disney told us we were supposed to do it. But somebody brought up a good point. I was on one of my shows I was listening to. It's like, if you're Kevin Feige or you're Kathleen Kennedy, and I don't care if it's fucking Iger or freaking Chapek or any of those clowns, it's like, if they're like, you have to announce all this stuff, you would think that Kathleen Kennedy, in her infinite wisdom, would be like, all right, listen, we've been announcing all this stuff and it's not coming to fruition. Like, can we just fucking pump the brakes and not tell people about stuff?
Yeah.
No, you got to give them content. It's just like, look, don't get me wrong. I want all the fucking Marvel. I want all the DC. I want all the Star Wars. But, don't give me shit. Like we talked about Daredevil last week. It's like, I'd rather you scrap it and just,
Well, that's like you knew Gen V was coming, but was it shoved down your throat? No. Was it all over the news? No. So when things like Marvel and Star Wars make announcements of something, it goes viral everywhere, and people know. You can't keep that under wraps.
Yeah.
Like, they announced Gen V, and you're like, oh, cool. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, shit, that's out now? Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, and they've had such, especially Marvel, they've had such a freaking run.
Yeah.
But post Endgame, everything's been kind of hit and miss. Lucasfilm, I mean, the Star Wars stuff has been kind of hit and miss, so it's just like, now we've talked about with them pumping the brakes and just being like, all right.
But I don't know if you saw this report too. I don't know if it was Kevin Feige came out and said that anything post WandaVision, pre WandaVision from the TV division, is not canon. It doesn't exist. So that's all the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. shit. They're saying that's not part of it.
They tie all those TV shows into the movies,
not
for the most part.
I'm just telling you I was on CBR, and that was one of the things they said, and I was like, I'm not going with that. But
even Kevin Feige's talking about, like, after, like, doing like a soft reboot. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, we've said it a million times about recasting and stuff. It's like eventually they're gonna have to recast some of these characters.
Oh yeah.
Right now, maybe in the next 5 years, I don't know. But, I mean, it's kind of a mess right now. And because all of the actor stuff going on with the strike, which I heard that didn't really...
Nope.
No, that we were hoping that would, solve. But, yeah, it's not looking... I mean, maybe 2024... We'll
get something.
We'll start. They'll start working production on stuff.
You know what? Maybe they'll spend more time worrying about quality instead of quantity.
Yeah.
Instead of giving us 20 episodes of shit, they'll give us a movie that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Look,
that's where we get our Logans from. Look, I don't need a lot of money. It's a great script.
Yeah. And look, we're not shitting on the WGA. We support WGA and the actors, obviously, and SAG and stuff. But okay, WGA, you got what you want. Pump out some fucking good shit.
Well, I'm not saying good shit, but I'm saying the studios will start getting cheap. Okay, if we got to pay you all this extra money, well, then we got to be cheaper and not put out so much stuff and be selective about what we put out.
Yeah, we talked about some of these other like horror movies and stuff like that where, you know, there's movies right now that were for like $20 million and you couldn't tell. Like, it's not, you know, obviously with $200 million spectacles and stuff, but like you just keep it a little bit more grounded. You spend less money. You know, I always go to like the Terminator model.
Right.
Where it's like the first Terminator was like made for fucking, you know, 2 packs of cigarettes and a Diet Coke, but like it freaking, it did super well, and you could still watch it and it holds up today.
Hell yeah.
For the most part. I mean, here and there, but like if you tell a good story, you don't have to spend all that money. Like we talked about the Black Adams of the world and shit like that. It's like you could have made that movie for $100 million. Yeah. Not $300 million or $200. Even that Indiana Jones, which I have not seen yet, because I have no interest in it. It's, you know, it's Indiana Jones. I love the character, but like, you spent $300 million on that fucking piece of shit?
Why?
You don't have to. It's fucking, you know, give him a whip and a fucking hat and
tell me a good story.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't give a shit. But anyway.
Speaking of a good story, apparently Michael Dougherty has announced at Beyond Fest, and no, not the Beyond Burgers.
No?
No, not the Meatless
Not the
Burgers.
Impossible Fest?
It is impossible. But he announced that, for those of you who don't know, Trick or Treat 2, a sequel that's been talked about for quite some time, is in, quote, very active development.
Okay.
Not a green light, but he said it is being very actively developed right now. I don't know if that means he's got a script and he's got people who are interested, so they're trying to see what they can get.
Yeah, I mean, something like that you're not going to see for another year, if that. Yeah, I mean, the original Trick or Treat is a classic.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, that was my little.
Hey, ooh. This is a great party. Love your hair over there. Hey, I just checked out this new movie that was on the HBO Max Prime.
Sure did.
Have you ever seen that brand new movie, Goodfellas?
Fuck, I offered you a chance when we could have done something, and you blew it!
You know what's crazy?
You blew it!
What's that?
That's the short version.
I know. I get a little crazy when it comes to these things.
I actually finally did this weekend watch Trick or Treat. I've never seen it.
Really? Okay. Yeah. What did you think?
I fucking loved it.
Yeah, it's a classic.
So good.
Did you end up watching Halloween 3?
No.
I did send you.
Yeah, I know you sent me the thing. I was like, yeah, I'm not watching that piece of shit.
Oh God, it's horrible.
Because I have seen it, and when we watched that little thing about the mask, I was like, oh, I remember this fucking thing.
I think you tried to. It's like a rape. You tried to block it out of your mind.
Wow, it's a little dark.
Anyway,
that went dark real fast.
Yeah,
I did watch that movie this weekend. I mean, Kate and I we're what we're doing. I think we've resigned ourselves to the fact that each weekend we're going to watch another Saw movie.
Okay.
So we just watched Saw 4.
Okay.
Where, Donnie Wahlberg gets his head squashed.
Ooh, yeah.
Between the two big ice blocks.
Got yourself.
That's 4, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So we watched the one. I said, Saw is not the kind of movie you can binge, like, all 9 of them. Well, now 10, because I do have the 10th one now.
Yep.
I'm like, you can't binge all 10. And I was like, we could watch the 10th one because it happens between 1 and 2.
Yep.
And Kate's like, no, I kind of want to watch them all in order. And I was like, okay.
Oh, boy. But, hey, look, that's funny because today I watched Saw 6.
Okay.
And Saw 3D. I was almost at the end that I had to come here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it was fine.
But Trick or Treat was a treat.
It certainly is. There's a reason why Sam's on my dashboard. Oh. Besides that, he's just...
Dude, he's cute as fuck.
Oh, yeah. Until the end.
Oh, yeah. Even then, he's a cute little kid.
He's a little rascal.
And then when he puts the little burlap sack back on his head, and now his mouth is opened up, and he's like... I love the way that was... But I love how that movie... What I loved about it... I love the time jump.
Yeah.
Where it's like now, and it's like before...
Yeah.
Or hours before, later, and it just jumps, but you see those parts hopscotching back and forth to come to the middle of the movie. And it's like, oh, and now we've wrapped around to where the movie... Because there's the scene with the spoiler for a fucking 20-year-old movie.
Yeah.
Where the werewolf girls are walking down the street and Anna Paquin like bumps into those people, and it's the robot girl and her boyfriend from the beginning of the movie who get killed in the beginning. So it's like I like the way it keeps circling back to them too.
I'm gonna have to rewatch that. It's been a while.
There's got to be a cinematic expression for that, like where they keep a repeating thing that happens that keeps you grounded in the movie.
Well, isn't Sam more of like he's almost like he's the one that kind of guides you through all this stuff?
Yeah.
But
you're seeing it from different points in time. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he's cute as a
he's a little scamp.
And you got the fucking guy next door who like poisons the kid, and then like, Daddy, can we carve the jack-o'-lantern?
Yeah,
it's the fucking kid's head, the ginger's head.
Gotta watch out for those gingers.
I didn't. You know what?
They're spooky.
But you know what? I said to you, it's very much like fucking Monster Squad on steroids.
Yeah,
but I was fully expecting the vampire guy to be like a real vampire who was brought, because they say these things walk the earth on these days. I was totally expecting him to be a real vampire.
Ooh, okay.
And did not even expect to be the neighbor guy who was chopping up the kid's head.
It's good times.
I was just like, holy shit! Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
with everything else that was happening, the bus and then the kids coming out of the lake and all that other shit, I was really expecting that vampire to be real.
Yeah. Was it a werewolf or a vampire?
No, he had the mask on. It was the He had the mask, and then later on, he's fucking killed by the actual werewolf.
It's a werewolf.
They all had to bring one person to kill and eat.
So for my next late to the party for you, have you seen Ginger Snaps?
No.
Watch Ginger Snaps and Ginger Snaps 2, Electric Boogaloo. They have a third one, but it's kind of a weird fucking 18.
Maybe I'll watch them tonight. I'm not going to work tomorrow.
There you go.
I have 2 doctor's appointments.
Let me tell you, I highly recommend if you're into werewolf movies. Everybody talks American Werewolf in London.
It's a good movie.
And Howling and stuff. Fucking Ginger Snaps. God damn.
I'll probably watch it and realize I've watched it. That happens to me all the time.
Probably. And then the second one is,
because I'm a dope. I'm a dope, people. I'm stupid.
I just saw, because recently I saw that they re-released them in like a box set, the 3 Ginger Snaps movies. And I'm like, damn, I haven't seen that movie in a while, but it's such a good movie.
I'll put it on my download queue.
Do it, man. Do it.
When we get off the air, don't let me forget about that, though.
Okay.
I'll just grab it and throw it on the old server.
Yeah, I highly recommend it.
Great, 5 out of 5 from Greg on that one.
Dude,
does highly recommend.
Yeah, I'll put that up there with anywhere.
So under our movies, that was the movie. One of the movies I saw. I went to the theaters.
You did.
I did. Didn't you?
I did too.
Oh my god!
We got lots of movies.
Did you have popcorn?
Did we have popcorn?
No, dude. So ready?
No. We just had soda pop because we go. What we've been doing, Manal and I, is because we're horror fans. I'm a fucking horror junkie. We talked about Saw X.
Right.
So we go to that, and then the movie that I saw, we go to TK's first, get some wings, have a nice wingy ding, and then we go to the movies. So by the time we get there, I'm already fucking packed full of wings and springs. I'm like, I ain't gonna eat that shit.
Well, before I reveal any of the movies I saw, I'm a popcorn. I don't like popcorn in the movie. I'll eat it. But my wife is always like, she's always like, make sure you bring me back some popcorn. I'm like, all right, because you get the free refill on the large.
Sure.
So my freaking popcorn at the end, I got a large, and it's got like 90% of it is still fucking in there because I just nibble on it.
Yeah.
I dump it out because I got to get the fresh popcorn.
Of course.
And I go out, and I'm like standing there, and I'm like, dude, and the guy next to me walks in the back, and then Manny walks out from the back room. And I go, excuse me, young man, can I please get a refill on my large popcorn? And he goes, why, yes. So I do this thing where I take the popcorn bucket. I love to take them and just like spin them and throw them up in the air.
Oh, okay.
Just catch them. And I do it and like shoot it at him, and he catches it, and everybody's like, what the fuck?
Wow. And
he goes over and he like fills up, and he goes to put butter on it and hits the button. And I go, no butter, because Kate doesn't want the butter on it. And she stops. He stops. He goes, oh shit. And he puts his hand into the fucking popcorn, grabs that fistful that got butter on it, throws it to the side. And meanwhile, everybody's watching, and they're looking like, dude, did you just put your hand in that man's popcorn? He goes, it's okay. It's my dad.
You have to tell people about that.
I was like, yes, but the popcorn is for your mother.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
I will supply my own butter for
what movie did you see?
I saw The Exorcist Believer, which we talked about. I had tickets.
Would it have been better? Was it good, or would it have been better if it was The Exorcist Believer with Justin Bieber?
Let me tell you.
Give it to me straight. Don't hold back.
Normally, I saw the reviews for it, And I was sold on the trailers. Remember, we watched the trailers and we're like, this looks fucking cool. I went in with low expectations, and that's kind of what I got. Low expectations. Okay. Was it an Exorcist movie? No, not really. Oh. There's been you know what it reminds me of? It's like, there's two movies out there, I think, that there's 100 derivatives of it. You'll never beat those two movies. One is The Exorcist.
Okay.
And the other one's Jaws. Jaws is one of my all-time favorite movies. There's Deep Black Sea. There's The Meg. There's all this fucking shit. You'll never beat Jaws. Don't even fucking do a shark movie.
Well, let's wait until, Kevin Smith makes Moose Jaws.
Well, that's a moose. We're not talking about a shark. We're talking about a moose, goddammit.
Sharknado. Come on.
Not even Sharknado. I mean, why bother? Exorcist is the same way, right?
Okay.
There's been a bunch of exorcism movies. The Pope's Exorcist, pass it on.
I was going to say, is this as much an Exorcist movie as the Pope's Exorcist was?
Pretty much. I mean, going into it, I had low expectations, so I didn't walk out of the theater pissed. I wasn't like, motherfucker, this fucking movie. It wasn't bad. I mean, it had an interesting premise. The premise is, these two girls, they go, they're friends, and they decide that they go into the woods.
Oh.
And
nothing good ever happens in the woods.
No, you never go in the woods, man. I forget what the deal is. They were trying to communicate with somebody, I guess a lost loved one or something like that. Oh, because her mother died. Oh. Very similar to the other movie I'm going to talk about.
How'd she die?
How'd your parents die? But then all of a sudden they go missing. And Yikes. Exactly. They go into the woods. Next thing you know, they disappear. It's been like, 3 or 4 days, and they can't find. Finally, they find them, and they're huddled in this like barn, and they don't know how they got there. They don't know what happened. And then all the weird possession thing happens. But and then carve the thing in the head, the spitting, the blah 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 blah, and they had Ellen Burstyn in it, which, if you've heard other people's reviews about it, Ellen Burstyn, she didn't have to be in this movie. It didn't even have to be an Exorcist movie. The only connection between that and the original Exorcist was that Reagan's mom wrote a book about surviving, dealing with the whole, what happened in the original Exorcist.
Okay.
So they decide, the father is just like, of one of the kids, goes like, we should get her to help us with this. She wasn't even in the fucking room when and she even mentions it, where she's like, well, I would have been in the room with the priest in there, but because I was a woman, like, in so many words. And I was just like, stop with your fucking agenda woke shit. Whoever.
Wow.
But she goes in and she talks to one of the girls, and the makeup, the girls themselves, they were creepy as shit.
Okay.
It wasn't as gross, and there was no crucifix freaking jabbing in the vagina, which but there was crucifixes jabbed in the freaking Ellen Bernstein's eyes.
Oh, good.
And she gets out, and then
did she die?
No, she's blind. She's in the and that's the post credit scene. Which, I mean, I'll put a little...
Fine. It's spoiled. Go get the milk. Why not? It's spoiled.
Linda Blair shows up at the end.
Why?
And, because the mom was like, ever since I wrote the book, she's been really mad at me, and she hasn't talked to me. I don't even know where she is. It's been years. And you're like, oh, that's sad. Of course, when she finds out that she's blind, she shows up at the end, and they're going to kind of cue it into the other one. So the only good thing I'll say about it is, I mean, it was pretty fucking ham-handed. It was, the mother... Oh, that's why the girl wanted to speak to... Because her mother died in childbirth. Basically, they're on this vacation in, Haiti or something like that. And the mother is pregnant with the child, and they get sick. And the doctor goes, well, it was like a House of the Dragon thing. It's like, well, either
I could save the mother or the child.
Or the child, right? So then they fast forward and you say, oh, he must have picked the child because, the mother's dead and fucking the child's going over. turns out,
So
you
Dad
know,
killed her.
Dad put in the, you know, he pulled the plug on one of them. So you think, oh, he chose the daughter. And, you know, he's very protective, raises the daughter, all that stuff. And then she gets possessed and the parents fight and all this shit. So they try to get them all together. They get all these different, it's not just the priest and all this other stuff. It's, you know, we're going to get this person and all these different religions will come together to beat this exorcism. And it's almost like the town gets, you're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, and then they start, but the cool thing was like, there was a priest and he goes, I want to help perform this exorcism on these two girls. And the Catholic Church was like, no. Like, fuck that. You're not doing it. And he feels really bad. He wants to help. Okay. He has to stay in the car. He's like, I can't do it. They're telling me not to. And they're like, what do you, come on, you got to help us. Finally, he decides to get the sack to come walk in. And
Don't be a wuss.
He's like, I don't care what the church says. I'm going to help you guys. And he tries to do this thing. And he puts his head over there. And his head twists. And he dies. Like, down he goes. But the only cool thing is, when they're possessed, the one child with the mother, he goes, he actually chose she says that it turns out that he chose the mother and to kill the baby, but it didn't work out and the baby lived. So he's like, she's like, you wanted me dead. And like, now the two girls are like, now you have to choose. One of us is going to live and one of us is going to die. And you have to choose. And of course, the parents are like, we can't choose. We're not going to choose. We're not going to choose. You know, there's the white girl and the black girl. And the black girl is the one who lost her mother. And they're like, you have to choose. One of us has to die. One of us has to die. So finally, the white father goes, we choose our child. We choose our child. We don't get, like at first they're like, we're just going to stand together and not choose. He finally breaks down and goes, I'm choosing my daughter. We choose her. And the freaking
white daughter has to die?
No, he goes, I want my daughter to live. Okay. Fuck the other girl. I'm picking it. I'm picking it. So he did, and then good old Pazuzu kills the white girl. The other girl lives. It was
go Pazuzu.
Yeah, it was. Watching it, I was like, I think I gave it like a 3 out of 5.
Okay.
It was okay. I wouldn't go. Now it's on demand. Watch it on demand. Don't spend your money on it.
I wouldn't anyway.
Yeah, wait till it goes out on Peacock or something. But yeah, that's my review of The Exorcist Believer, 3 out of 5. We went to see it. The only funny thing I will say about seeing the movie was we went during Taylor Swift Eras tour. We walk in and we're like, what the fuck? Like, there's like
everybody taking pictures in front of the freaking.
It was like a concert. All these little girls are all dressed up, and the concession line is like wrapped around like it's a freaking concert. And we're like, yeah, we're here to see The Exorcist. And when we first got in, we were like, we're the only people in this theater. But then it filled up. There was people that showed up. I mean, apparently it did over 100 million worldwide so far. So I don't know. They're talking the trilogy. Man, they better fucking
put the game face on.
All they really did was just put The Exorcist Believer, and they threw the mother in for like 5 minutes. She got her eye stabbed out, and that was it. So that was it. When you went to the theater and you saw something delicious.
I did. I saw Killers of the Flower Moon.
Ooh, see why we do this on Sunday now? Because we can talk about movies that just came out.
The new Scorsese pick.
Yeah.
With Leo DiCaprio.
Oh, boy. And De Niro. And creepy fucking Todd from Breaking Bad.
Oh, God, that's right.
He plays a great creep.
He's
been in a lot of different movies.
He does.
I love him.
It's a Scorsese film, man.
Yeah.
From start to finish, it's everything you get in a Scorsese film. It's almost, and I know it's based on a true story, but I see why this is kind of perfect for him because it's almost like a gangster story.
That's what I heard. It's like mob without the mob.
Yeah, it's, the oil barons and the oil companies trying to steal the land from the Ojai Indians or Osage Indians.
Osage, yeah.
And, you can tell that DiCaprio likes to improv in fucking his roles because there's some stuff I'm like, what the fuck is what? I don't know why it has to be 3.5 hours.
Really?
I think you could have made it a half hour shorter and I'd have been okay with that.
Really? Yeah, because a lot of people are like, it's 3.5 hours, but you don't feel it. kind of. But I think you feel 3.5 hours. I mean, Endgame, I was freaking
My
had a
fucking
boner.
bladder felt it.
Yeah, I mean, Endgame, I had a boner the whole time, and I still fucking felt it. I was like, it's 3 hours long. Even when we saw Batman, too, I was like, okay, you could fucking... I think I really, really want to see it, but I think I might wait till it's...
Yeah, I think
streaming.
Scorsese's trying to prove, like, his point about what he says, where we're like, we need actual films that tell stories and not this, green screens and all this other shit, as he shits on the, superhero movies, but... Everybody's talking shit about old B. Frage, Brendan Fraser, who plays De Niro's lawyer in court. He's in it for 20 minutes, and again, he's on screen maybe for 5 minutes total.
Yeah.
But there's this one scene, and I think this is what everybody's talking about. How he sucks, it's shit. But I think he's acting out of time. I don't know that he's one of those period piece kind of actors. But,
yeah.
And he's very stiff. I said to Kate when she picked me up, I was like, he was so horrible. And as I talked to her about it, I was like, he was so horrible. I was like, when you watch a movie and the actor who's doing the part, you're like, I just don't believe what you're saying because I don't believe you believe what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, maybe that was what was going on in the scene, that Brendan Fraser was like, he's a lawyer, has to convince this guy, A, not to testify against this other guy, and B, that the police forced him to say what he said in the first place, which is all bullshit, and he knows it. Everybody knows it. And maybe he's just coming off as being like, I don't believe this, and being bad acting because he doesn't believe what he's saying to the character.
Yeah.
Or maybe he just fucking sucked in it.
Yeah, I mean, look, we all know that he's a great actor. Yeah. I mean, between the whale...
George of the Jungle was fucking amazing.
I'll tell you. Freaking
Encino Man. Fucking
well,
Academy Award level.
I always go back to With Honors. That movie is freaking a gut punch. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy.
Oh boy.
So we know the guy can act. I mean, I think we talked about it before we got on mic. I was like, maybe it was just a stylistic choice.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm going to try this because, like you said, if he's trying to portray that he knows that he's bullshitting, maybe he's not a good liar.
And Leonardo DiCaprio's character in this movie is very kind of simple. Mm-hmm. He's not very smart, and De Niro's character is like the mafia, the boss.
Yeah.
He's the boss, and Leonardo DiCaprio's character is like his nephew, so he brings him to help him on all his shit. And spoiler here, people, if you're the whole point is the Osage Indians were moved from reservation to reservation and landed in Oklahoma, and they put away their old ways of smoking the peace pipe and all this other shit, because they start the movie with them burying a peace pipe and saying goodbye to that member of the tribe kind of thing, and then all of a sudden, whoosh, oil starts coming out of the ground.
Oh.
And it comes out that the fucking reservation that they were given is just chock full of fucking oil.
Yeah.
So now they're
stepped in shit.
Now they're fucking super rich because what they wind up doing is leasing the land out to these oil companies, and they own it, so they get money every month, shit ton of money for owning this land. But there's this one family that's the mother and 4 daughters, I think it is, and the whole thing they're trying to do is he's trying to get people close to him to marry the daughters, and then they kill these people off.
Yeah.
So that the now white husbands own the land, and then they kill off the kids, and then kill those people, but they've already signed the land over to him.
Yeah.
So he's just trying to collect all this fucking land that's full of oil so he can be rich.
The old reverse Anna Nicole Smith.
That's right.
He slipped on some oil and fell.
Oh,
Maverick!
Yeah. And they point out, this person, 20-something years old, died, no investigation. This person, this old, died, no investigation. This guy with a bullet wound to the back of his head, deemed a suicide, no investigation.
Kind of sounds like the Clintons. Anyway, proceed.
Oh, shit. Let me go Pizzagate. I'm going to Pizza. So anyway, it was a good movie. I don't think it's as great as... I mean, I know it's 92% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd give it that high. I'd maybe give it
3.5?
I'm being generous. 3.75.
3.75 out of 5 pals.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
I'm never going to watch it again.
That's a lot of people are saying that. They're like, it's fucking epic and broad, and it's great. They're going to get Oscar noms. I'll never watch it again.
Yeah.
Good, because I heard it's pretty freaking rough.
Yeah. Some of it is, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm a Scorsese guy. I'm like, I got to see it, I Yeah, I mean, he did do The Irishman too. That was oh boy,
Oh boy,
that was another epic.
oh my god, there was a movie that Kate and I watched. I'll look it up when as we talk. But there was a movie Kate and I watched that had like fucking. Did I talk about it with John Bernthal and yeah? Oh my god, it was like a murder movie. Jeremy Renner was in it. He was like the sheriff in this town, but there's a scene where fucking Bernthal's in bed with this girl, and Kate and I are watching, and she's Native American, so they're on this tribal land, and his buddies come back. They're working a drilling mine, but it's closed down for the winter, and he's in bed with his Native American girlfriend, and they come back from town all fucking drunk, and they weren't supposed to be back. And next thing happens, boom, 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 and at one point they rape her, and I'm like, I don't know that I could fucking watch this.
Oh, Jesus.
Talk about rough.
Yeah.
There was none of that, but like just brutality of like killing people. Just go, oh, we want this, and you see it unfold. It was very predictable. And again, I know it's a true story, but there were parts that were just like so predictable. And
it's based on a true story,
Yeah, fucking.
They have to embellish it a little bit,
Leo just channeled his inner Gilbert Grape. That's about all he did.
Yeah, I heard he did. Yeah, he's got like the little jaw thing going on there. I mean, you got two of Scorsese's freaking proteges in one movie, which they haven't been in a. I heard they haven't been in a movie together since This Boy's Life, which was like 90 something. So it's been a while. It's been a while. Yeah. So yeah.
Other movies?
Do you want to talk about the one that I saw that you already saw, or do you want to talk about the one that we both saw recently?
Whoa, what was the one we both saw?
Old Dads.
Old Dads.
Yeah, I checked out the Old Dads.
It was all right.
Yeah, it's Bill Burr.
Yeah, I'll never watch it again.
No, it was silly. I mean, it was
my ear itches.
I love Bill Burr. I love his comedy and all that stuff. I don't know. He's pushing a little bit too much into the the cranky old 70s kind of like
and I think he's trying to push to that whole like it's okay to be inappropriate. It's like I get that. It's like you're just pushing too far the other side, though.
Yeah, there's a nice mix. Do I believe all this stupid wokeness shit that was going on that he was dealing with? Yes, of course, there's all that stuff. But at the same time, it's like some of the stuff he says, you're just like, yeah, maybe you're thinking it, you might, but at the same time, it's just like you can't expect everybody to freaking be like, oh yeah, sure, It made me laugh a few times, but it wasn't something where I was like, I
think the problem is we're the target audience for that.
Yeah.
And most other people like us aren't running to Netflix to watch a Bill Burr movie.
Yeah, you know what it is, too, is that he's very, like, he's starting to get pretty one note.
Yeah.
He did F is for Family, which I think was great. Great show. Now he's doing this movie, and it's like, dude, we get it. You're old school. You have a young kid, and I was just like, I don't know, but it was, it was a decent watch. It was all
right.
It was on Netflix. If you get a chance, if you like Bill Burr, you could do worse. I'm not gonna say. I give it maybe a 2 out of 5.
Yeah,
two pals out of 5. I don't know. It was kind of disappointing, unfortunately. Old Billy Red Balls. Old Red Pubies.
Oh, boy. What was the other movie you watched?
I was late to the party, but I finally watched Talk to Me.
Oh, so good.
Oh, it was one of those where, like, we were looking for a movie to watch, and I was like, man, I definitely want to watch that when it's on streaming. I didn't get a chance to see it in the theater, and then I saw it was for rent. I'm like, oh shit, we should watch this because we've been getting into the spooky season, right?
Mm-hmm. That's the name of the episode tonight, Spooky Season.
That's right. Boo.
Boo, motherfucker.
I did not say blah, blah, blah. Old Adam Sandler.
It'll be Halloween.
I really, really dug it. I give it seriously 4 out of 5 pals.
Nice.
It was, I like the fact that it was made by YouTubers. It was done on a low budget. These Australian YouTubers, they had a big following, and they decided that they wanted to make their own movie.
I think that might have been one of my gripes with it, that it seemed like it was just kind of shot, not like just shot.
Considering it was a bunch of YouTubers that shot it, you're like, shit.
Well, knowing that now it changes. I mean, I don't remember what I said about it, but
they had some really interesting camera angles and stuff, and the premise of it was, you know what it was? It was just unique. You know, like it didn't follow a lot of tropes. Obviously, it was, you know, dealing with loss, and it was dealing with, you know, teenagers and drugs, you know, because they get so hooked on doing this possession thing. Oh, what happened? They were so much into doing this possession thing that it was almost like a drug for them. They're like, I gotta do it again. I gotta do it again. The visual effects were really freaking cool. That poor kid that they're like, oh, well, because the whole premise of it, if you haven't seen it, we talked a little bit about when John saw it, was that they find this hand. It's like this embalmed hand that's been passed around to all these different people. And these kids...
Mummified.
Yeah, mummified, and they just happen to have it. And they found that you light a candle, and you put your hand into the mummified hand, and then you say, talk to me. Once you say, talk to me, a spirit appears.
Right.
It could be anybody. And when you first see it, it's just, you're like, oh, God, because it's like people that have drowned, and they're like all fucked up. But then after you hold the hand, you say, talk to me, then you say, I let you in.
Right.
Once they say that, you have 90 seconds.
To let go of the hand.
And then they possess them. They flip back. Their eyes get all black. They start talking in tongues. They get possessed. And they're still holding the hand. And then they have 90 seconds. And, you know, if it goes past 90 seconds, then they won't leave. They'll stay in your body forever. So the first one, the girl that's like kind of an outsider, she does it. They didn't catch her in time, so she did like 91 seconds. But they're like, okay, no, she's fine. But she loved it after she was done. She's like, oh my God, that was amazing.
Yeah.
The little brother, who wasn't really like an annoying kind of like, you know, little brother.
No.
But he wants to do it, but he's young. So they're like, all right, we're not going to do 90 seconds. We're going to do 50 seconds. So he does it because he sees all these other kids. They're flipping out. They're like, oh my God, they're shooting it on Snapchat. Like, it's something that kids these days would do. It reminded me a lot of that movie Bodies, Bodies, Bodies I saw, which was all kind of like millennials kind of thing, where it was like, okay, I could see millennials doing stupid shit like this. This is what these kids are doing. The young kid does it. He all of a sudden he's possessed, but he starts talking like the girl's mom they said it was an accident, that she took too many sleeping pills and she did it by accident, but she wasn't sure. Maybe she did it. Maybe she killed herself. We don't know. So he starts talking like the mother, and then the girl is like, no, don't. Like, they're like, come on, it's almost time. You said 50 seconds. He's like, no, keep going. She just so wants to talk to her mother.
Right.
He ends up holding it for way too long, and then she starts bashing his head, ripping his eyeball out. It was like, oh my God. It was like brutal. So yeah, I mean, I really, really loved it. The ending was just like, it was one of those movies where I watched it, and then I had to watch all the other YouTube guys talk about it, because I'm like, wait, what happened? Did she? I won't spoil it.
Spoil it. I've seen it. We've talked about it already.
Well, at the end, the girl that was, wondering about her mom, and that she stayed for 91 seconds, the spirits start talking to her, and it's like a spirit that it looks like her mother, but she looks all fucked up or whatever. Right. And they're like, the only way to help Jake is the kid who's in the hospital. So like anytime he snaps out of it, he just starts smashing his head against the wall and shit. He wants to get out. They're like, the only way to save him is to kill him. So she's like, she tried all this different stuff. She stole the hand. She was trying to, maybe if I put it in the kid's hand and then maybe we didn't blow the candle out fast enough. Right. They're just trying to figure it out, and she can't figure it out. So she decides she puts him in a wheelchair and takes him out and is going to throw him in traffic. And her sister is like, the boy's sister is like, oh my God, no, you can't like that. And then it turns out like it cuts to it, and then she's on the ground, the girl, like it's not the kid. The kid is on the side. So you're like, wait, did she die? Because she got right back up. Right. And you're like, oh, maybe she just like hit her head or whatever, and then the kid's still fucked up or whatever it is. And then she starts walking around, and then she sees like the kid is fine, and then she's with the mother, and then the father. Oh, there was the father that came in, right, and to the daughter and confessed to her daughter, like, hey, look, it wasn't an accident. She did kill herself. Right. Like, she wrote a suicide note, so she's freaked out because the spirit is telling her, no, it was an accident. It was an accident. I didn't do it. So she thinks that her father is possessed, and she kills the father, stabs him in the neck with a freaking scissor. But anyway, to make a long story longer, she gets up and starts walking around, and she's realizing, like, oh, like, the kid is all right, and they're happy, and, like, oh, is that my father? And she starts walking through the hospital, and then it just, like, cuts to black, and you see a hand, and she puts her hand out, and it's another bunch of kids from, like, another different country or something.
Right.
So now she's dead, and she's the spirit, and the guy's going, like, talk to me. It was just like, fucking A, dude. It was so well done. I was like, God damn.
It was.
And it's tough for me, especially as a horror geek. Like, all right, you got to come with something good or something different. That was so unique. I was like, wow. To the point where I watched like 3 or 4 other videos talking about it. Just like, I just need somebody to talk to about it. So yeah, man, talk to me. That's what
I'm trying to do.
That's what I'm trying to do. You know, I let you in. God damn it. Yeah, it was amazing.
Where do we want to go? TV?
I think we should go TV. I think we've pretty much done like the. Have you seen any new TV?
I watched this new show on Netflix called Bodies. It's funny you were like Bodies.
Yeah.
It's a if I have to sum it up, sci-fi time travel Sherlock Holmes kind of thing.
Okay.
It's this body shows up in the street in England. It's got this like tattoo on its wrist, and it's the year like 1880 something. Or 1890 something, and this detective gets the case, and then he's trying to solve it, and then, you know, all of a sudden, fast forward, it's 2023, and there's a body on the same street in the same spot in England, and this detective gets the case of that, and she's trying to solve it, and then it flashes back to 1940 something, where again, same body, same corner, like same person, everything, which is where you start to go, oh, this is a time travel thing.
Goddamn time travel.
But it's kind of like an Ouroboros where it's like the guy was his own grandpa. Spoilers, because I don't think it's kind of up your alley. So
it doesn't sound it, yeah. Although you never know.
The guy was abandoned by his mother because she was a drug addict, and he didn't even know who his dad was, and then he grows up and he winds up like being radicalized and blowing up a bomb in London. And then tries to create this utopian future society, and then this guy creates time travel, so he goes all the way back to 1800 to start this whole plan to do that, and you find out, like, the woman he marries, he has a kid with, and then that kid has a kid, and those kids have kids who have him, so he's literally his own grandpa. He goes back and sleeps with his great-grandmother to have him say... That was kind of cheesy.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's got a decent cast, and if you're into that sci-fi time travel...
It's called Bodies.
Bodies.
The bodies at the...
And the fourth was in the future in like 2090 something or some shit like that.
Talk about TV. I mean, the 1800s is making a comeback.
It is.
With Loki.
Oh,
yeah,
Loki.
we want to talk about the Lokes.
Loki was so good.
It's just it just keeps getting better and better.
And there's talk, like all the theories. I love the one theory that
was it Screen Crush?
Was that I want to call him Data. Ki
Hyo Kwan?
Yeah, that he is actually Data pulled out of the time stream.
Oh, jeez.
Have you heard that one? That's my
No.
favorite. And that the kid working at the fucking McDonald's.
They have very similarities, yeah.
The kid who works the McDonald's with what's her name? Loki.
With Ellie. Is it Ellie? No. Sylvie.
Thank you. The kid who works behind the counter with her is like, "Can you fill the straws?" That's fucking Mobius.
Wow, could you feel the straws? I know.
And that this show is going to end with Mobius and Loki on a jet ski together.
That would be beautiful.
That would be.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed this episode. The whole 1800s, like, old Victor Timely.
Yep.
He's freaking old. Hold on a second. Thank you. He's back. I like his character. I mean, he's an amazing actor.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, say what you will, but he hasn't been convicted yet, so, there's still hope out there, but...
No, never convicted.
Yes, never convicted.
Just like in Stripes.
Yes. Any of you men homosexual?
No, but we're willing to learn.
You mean like flaming? Such a great movie.
Yeah, Victor Timely.
Yeah, he was interesting. I like that character. I like the fact that, you know, somebody slipped him the book when he was a kid, and that's how it kind of started. And
again, it's the Ouroboros. It's like you have to go back and around and restart this whole thing by coming back around from where you end up.
Yeah, and it's I like where it's going. Old Miss Minutes, man, what a creep.
Oh my God.
I want to be.
You never gave me a body. You didn't even try.
You could be a girl. I was like, oh boy.
She's like, I'll suck that dick.
Yeah, I'll freaking suck that clock.
Yeah, tick-tock.
Tick-tock, motherfucker.
Tick-tock, suck that clock.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was definitely interesting.
It was.
I'm anxious to see how it goes, but yeah, it's still another great,
It is.
I love the fact that, the two of them are in the World's Fair or whatever, and they look up and they see the Thor statues. He's like, Thor's not that tall.
And I didn't know that the other one was like a real...
Yeah, it was one of the other characters in Thor, and it was funny because you forget,
But it wasn't. But he wasn't in the movie, but he was supposed to be.
Oh, is that what it was?
Played by, what's his name? Fucking Daniel Craig, I think, was supposed to play him in the Thor movie.
Oh, in the Dark World or something like that?
Yeah, was supposed to play that third god. That's part of, he was supposed to be in it, be that, and they were like, no, it's not going to work.
And it was interesting for the fact that, you forget, I forget a lot watching it, that, he's a freaking, he's a god.
Yeah.
And they just, you're the god of mischief, do some mischievous things. But,
Oh, boy.
oh, wow.
Wow.
But yeah, he just looks up, he's like, Thor's not that tall, but you forget that, he is a freaking god, he's...
And I think Mobius says that to me. He goes, I forget you're a god.
Yeah, that's what it was. And you're just like, oh yeah, that's right. Because he's done it's so weird with that character, all the different character arcs and changes that has been through it. Where he's died 3 times at this point. And this is
Most
actually
killed character in Marvel.
Yeah, and you forget that the Loki that the show is based on is not the Loki, later on in Ragnarok and all that stuff. He's the one from the original Avengers that fought, New York City, started that whole war, and then escaped.
Yeah.
So when he starts on that show, he's that.
Tesseract.
Yeah, he's that Loki, and now he's completely flipped into this new character, and yeah, I'm loving it, man. It's
weird to keep that in perspective too. That he hasn't experienced any of that other stuff.
No,
he hasn't experienced Thanos.
No,
none of that.
This was a completely different Loki, I guess. I mean, he's still
from a different timeline.
Yeah, it's a variant.
He's a variant.
Goddamn variants, man.
Goddamn variants.
But
you're a variant, Loki.
Wow,
you're a variant.
You're a variant. Do something mischievous.
Dude, you know what's sad though? It's on the same night as Gen V, and I look so much more forward to watching Gen V than Loki.
Oh, me too. I always watch Gen V first.
I was like, Kate was watching it with me, and she was just like, we're sitting there, and you hear the, oh, no, not that. Nope, not that. Where the fuck did my other clip go?
Which one?
Hold on.
Kate's imaginary friend from when she was a kid. Boyfriend, really. I taught her how to jerk off. Diddle that skittle. Flick the bean. Had to find that man in the canoe. She came like a faucet. She'd crank up the Jonas Brothers. She'd
The Jonas
Soldier
Brothers.
Boy pillow. She'd raw dog that pillow till she saw God. It was pretty romantic.
Hell yeah, brother.
Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up.
When I watched the episode, I was going to text you and just be like, 2 words, Soldier Boy.
Soldier Boy. Dude, that has made them sit there and go, people are going, we need a Soldier Boy show. Can we just get a fucking Soldier Boy show,
he
please?
is the best because he's just so yeah.
And you know what? I think these shows are what people like you and I need because we love those Marvel ones. But then if everybody else is like, yay, Marvel, it's like, I need something else that's kind of not everybody else's.
Yeah.
And this is one of those shows, not everybody's watching it, but the right people are watching it.
Yeah, it's getting a lot of praise, from the online community or whatever. But yeah, it's like when I compare it to, I mean, it's based on a comic book, right?
Yeah.
So we've all read, I was a Marvel DC person, I wish I did write them, read a lot of those comics. But then as you got older, you're like, what else is out there? There's got to be some other stuff. And then you get into stuff like The Boys or like Spawn or the Dark Horse, like Image stuff back in the day. You're like, oh, okay, this is a little bit more up my alley, where it's like, sure, I love all the Marvel stuff. I always have. But, you know, sometimes you want a little something that's a little bit more up your pay grade, you know?
And I think it's because this is the kind of stuff that answers the questions that when you're reading comics, you wind up you leave that storyline of the comics and go, you know, when Flash runs, like, what happens if he bumps into someone?
Yeah.
He's going so fast. Does he, like, literally rip their arm off if he just, like, grazes up against them? Like, what happens if you fuck Superman?
Yeah.
Like, all these questions you used to sit there and say when you were like, I've been reading these comics so long and seen so many different scenarios. What's something you wouldn't talk about in a comic book?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. And these guys went, let's make a fucking comic book of that.
Yeah.
And that's what The Boys, I feel like, is.
Yeah, because you would think if superheroes really did exist, you know, how would they act? If you had that much power, we see what happens with celebrities. Yep. You know, you give that much power, they're going to do fucked up shit.
Fucking Instagram celebrities. Do you know who I am?
Yeah.
I'm Instagram famous.
Yeah. You know, so it's really, really interesting. Yeah, and it brings up all those questions when you were a kid. Like I always used to laugh at Mallrats when Brody's talking to Stanley. He goes, "The Thing's dick, is it like made out of rock? like how does the Thing take a shit? Like, you want to know these things." Yeah. You know? So yeah, I mean, I love it, and like we said, they got picked up for season 2, which I'm like, please don't make us wait like 5 years for this open. But I'm glad that they're continuing that storyline, this one, because it seems to, you know, it, like we said, it's the New Mutants version of like X-Men. Yep. You know, where I'm really interested to see how everything ties up, you know, and it's crass, and sure, it's got a lot of blood and guts, but if it was just that, you wouldn't care, you know, you'd be like, this is fun, but like I'm really invested in these characters.
And you know what? I don't think it's as gratuitous. I feel like some of the stuff that we saw in The Boys, which is why I'm liking this show better, it's like there's a reason they're showing you it in this. I think The Boys, some of the stuff was just for shock value at certain points.
I mean, they're taking a lot of beats out of the comics, you know. I haven't
read the comic.
Yeah.
Maybe I should.
Yeah, well, it's funny because if you read the comic, Huey, if you look at his picture in the comic, he looks just like Simon Pegg.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Because it was based kind of like, I want a Simon Pegg. The guy who illustrated it and wrote it was like, I wanted like a Simon Pegg character. And was interesting in the TV show, they for Huey's father, they picked Simon Pegg.
Oh,
so when you read the comics, it's really good, and they do go in a lot of freaking crazy directions. I highly recommend it if you get a couple issues. I mean, there's a gazillion now. It's like Invincible. We were talking about Invincible's finally coming back.
Right.
There's like books
volumes.
And books,
Manny's
volumes. Yeah,
Manny
volumes.
has all the volumes upstairs. I don't want to touch his comic books though.
Nah, but yeah, I mean, I haven't gotten deep into that, but yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to that too. That looks really so. Amazon, man, freaking killing it.
That's right,
killing it right now. When freaking Disney and all these other ones are shit in the bed, all of a sudden it's like, yeah, now it's time for some Amazon Prime.
You know what else it's time for?
You tell me.
Gates imaginary
What would that be?
Kate's imaginary friend, or
Well, you know what? At least the weather's turned. Oh, sweater weather. Sweater weather. Sweater weather. Oh, God, I would.
sweater weather.
Sweater weather. I like how you kept the metronome on that when you recorded
I didn't realize that. Fuck you. Like you've never done that.
Oh, I've done it 100 times. Yeah, so I think it might. What else? TV wise, I mean, we were going to talk about Daryl Dixon.
Daryl Dixon, season 2, the Book of Carol.
Book of Carol.
What is this? The Book of Eli?
I know, what the fuck. I mean, it's still going. Overall, I'll just say that I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it more than what I watched of Dead City.
Dead City was also like a pleasant surprise. I'm like, okay, it wasn't that bad. This one, you know, was interesting. And Book of Carol. So
Book of Carol.
It's ongoing.
I was waiting for that kid to perform a miracle and bring somebody back from the dead.
Yeah, I thought they were going to do a whole Last of Us shit.
Yeah.
You know, he's the cure kind of bullshit.
Nope.
Which the way he was born, you know,
they're kind of
she was turned, they cut the cord, he seems to be fine. It's kind of like the fucking Ellie thing. So
yep.
I was like, really, guys? You going to go down that route? It's been done. What are you going to do?
It's been done better.
Yeah. Well, if you think about the pilot for or the first issue of The Walking Dead, when I saw him come out of a coma, I was like, oh, 28 days later. Okay.
Yeah. You ready?
I sure am.
From the big rock band, now he just looks like a big fat ham. It's time for Greg's Music News.
Balls. Yeah, kids, guess what? It's music news time. Lots of stuff, man. Lots of stuff. A lot of full lengths. Some stuff that we've talked about already. Some single wise that now they finally came out with some albums. A lot of them are full lengths this time. You know, hey, there's my girl waving. Oh, somebody's listening. So anyway, looking in my Discover, we talked about Ice Nine Kills.
Yeah.
Their whole album came out. Welcome to Horrorwood. It's good. I mean, it's I like that they're kind of doing a theme. You know, like they're all about horror movies, and their songs are written about horror movies, and they put a lot of production into it, and the music it's you know, they're really talented. It's that type of music like we talked about, like of Mice and Men and all those like progressive ones with the yelling and the singing and the yelling, you know. So you know, like I said, I was late to party with them, but their full-length album came out. Another one, let's do this, even though...
Yeah.
Can I help you, sir? Yes, what is this? Huh? This is whack! I can't get jiggy with this shit! I thought you were dead.
Guess what, kids? The Rolling Stones have a new album out called Hackney Diamonds.
Yeah.
Have you listened to the Hackney Diamonds?
Yeah.
It's the Stones, man.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with it.
There's a lot of guest people on it too.
Oh yeah, you know it's only down to the 3 now. I mean, I could definitely, it's got some good songs on it.
Yeah,
it does. Like, and I'm not, you know, I'll defend a lot of the later Stone stuff. You know, like they have a song or two on each album. This one definitely has some good songs on it. You could definitely, for me personally, I could feel the Charlie Watts missing of it.
Yeah.
You know, the drumming in it, you're just kind of like...
Well, that's why you do the music, because I don't feel that. I don't notice those kinds of things.
Charlie Watts is kind of like a Ringo Starr in the fact that, like, his drumming was not flashy. It was not, but interesting. He did certain things that you could listen to it and go, oh, cool. That's Charlie Watts. Very laid back. The joke was always, he was just like, just playing. When you listen to this Hackney Diamonds, like, there's little fills in it and shit, and you're like... That doesn't sound like Charlie Watts.
Charlie Watts would never do that.
Yeah, I mean, let me tell you, fucking, what do you call it? Oh, jeez, I just blanked. Did I just freaking have a stroke? Mick
do you
Jagger.
Smell burnt toast?
Yeah.
Oh, I did. No. I did that too. I was like, oh, this, what's his, all I can think of is Keith Richards. What the fuck?
That guy from The Thing, Mick Jagger.
The guy was in Free. What was that movie he was in with Buster Poindexter?
Trick or Treat, motherfucker. No. That was on recently too. Halloween Resurrection. Oh my God, what a shit show. Anyway, I digress. Keith Richards looks amazing. He quit drinking. He quit smoking. He's preserved. They're in their fucking 80s, man, and they're still putting out new music. So, God bless, man. God bless. It's good stuff. Other than that, we kept talking about Blink 182.
Free Jack.
Oh God, remember that movie? Yikes.
Yikes.
Blink 182, another full. You know.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's been happening lately with music is they put single. Here's the whole album. Let me tell you, this new Blink 182 album is fucking really good. And I've never been a huge Blink fan. I thought that their early stuff was good.
Okay.
And, you know, they started experimenting a little bit, which was cool. Kind of juvenile. You know, you're like, dude, you're in your 40s. Cut it out, or 50s, or whatever they are.
Yeah.
This album is freaking really good. Like, and I watched it was like a like kind of a long interview, like an hour-long interview, and they went into, like, how they were, you know, like, Tom and Mark were just, like, not talking to each other. They fucking hated each other and all this stuff. And then Mark got cancer. He had the stage 4 fucking lymphoma, and he freaking beat it. And Tom was the first one who called him, and it was just like, hey, man, let's fucking scrap this shit because you're going to get through this. and it was really heartfelt because you don't realize with that band, you kind of forget that, like, you know, the Travis got into that plane crash and was real fucked up, and that's why they got back together again. And then Mark with the cancer and all that stuff, and it was really cool just to see them be like, look, we're at an age where shit's, you know, we don't know how much longer we have. That's why it's called One More Time. It's kind of like we're just, you know, it was just really cool to see them. That like they just put all their shit aside. They're brothers again. They're fucking touring these huge stadiums, and they're fucking put out a great fucking record. So
it is good. I've been listening to the new album. So
yeah. Other than that, what else did I see that was floating around?
The turkey toilet.
Yeah, I mean, those are the... Oh, I got to talk about these guys. Freaking Entero. Entierro. Entero. They're a local band. They have a new album out called The Gates of Hell. My ex-girlfriend's brother, this is his band. Old Waterbury's Finest, the old Begnell. Chris, he used to play in a... we went to college together. Great guy. He has this metal band, and they're fucking like just old school kind of, like, you know, The Gates of Hell, really well produced. It was like that kind of, I don't want to say stuff.
Are they on the playlist?
They are.
Okay.
I put one of the songs on there. They've been around for a while. They just came out with their full length, and you know, if you're into that like Sabbath kind of like metal,
You listening, Stolpe?
Yeah, man. Dude, they're right up Stolpe's alley. But yeah, check them out. They're called Entero. Oh, and we did talk about Fucked Up. Did we talk about Fucked Up last week?
Did we? No.
I don't think so.
We might have.
We might have. We might not have. But they do have a new song, a single out called Show Friends.
Yeah.
What the fuck happened to that band?
Oh, fuck. I did not want to hear you say that.
I mean, they're one of my favorite bands. Live, we've seen them a whole bunch. This new song is like, it's okay. I've heard better. I've heard worse, but it's just...
It's not them.
Don't know. Yeah, Show Friends is up there.
I'm not going to play it.
It's okay.
I was going to play Entero.
Yeah, Entero's, you might want to skip a little bit. It's got a little bit of doom and gloom before the song. Oh, yeah, here we go. I was thinking the beginning of the record.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
Yeah. Old Waterbury's Finest. Yeah,
Won't
go
be
give
seeing
them
at
some
the chance, though.
Yeah, give them some love, man. They do a lot of Connecticut shows. Chris is a great guy, guitar player.
Well, you know, now that we're not doing the shows on Fridays, we could always go to a show.
That's right.
Just say, just say. I heard some things.
But really, that was the only,
all right,
the only ones I saw. Like I said, a lot of these bands that we were chatting about came out with their full lengths, and I would definitely recommend Blink-182. I definitely recommend Entero. You know, Rolling Stones too. Give them, you know, not like they need the money.
I don't know how many babies has Mick got at this point.
I don't know, man. He's like Tony Randall in it, you know.
Yeah, I think the free Jack residuals have dried up too.
That's right. Where's Tina?
Oh my god!
But that's all I got. There is no more.
Okay, where did it go? Speaking of big fat ham. So I got a dead cat over there, and I got a chicken over there. There's a chicken in that room, and there's a dead cat in that fridge.
Let them fight.
Freezer.
Yeah, not in the fridge.
I said to Kate, you know what the best was? I meant to say this in the story. I said to Kate on the way back, I was like, you know, are you sure it's dead? And she goes, John. And I go, what? Did you take it to see if it had a pulse? And she's like, John. And I go, what? She goes, its back was broken. I go, so what? It could still live with a broke back.
Yeah.
I was like, if I put that thing in the freezer, I don't want to be upstairs and all of a sudden hear like scratching downstairs and I hear a cat screaming in the freezer because it woke up. And she goes, it's not gonna. I was like, I've seen Pet Cemetery. It can happen.
That's right. Sometimes dead is better. Look, man, you know what's so
Place
funny?
We're going, Lewis.
Pulling that cat off the ground was like kind of pulling ticket tape off a leather. Was it like pulling ticket tape off a leather? Yeah, you know what's scary is that you have a cat in the freezer? I'm like, of course you do. I'm used to it. And
Yeah.
we talk about
Back in the days when I was young. God damn it, we're old.
when we had our apartment together and you had all the snakes. And like the first time I open up the freezer, there's a freaking huge bag full of mice. And I'm like, ugh. But then like after a month or two, I was like moving the mice away to get to my fucking Hot Pockets. I'm like, get these fucking things out of here. But yeah, man, we did it.
We did.
We did it. It's our first Sunday night. I'm digging the Sunday.
It's church. It's church.
Yeah.
We should open up with a new theme song. It's like a church theme song, like Gregorian chants.
Yeah, I mean,
I got clown juice.
Start with Tubular Bells, that fucking horse shit movie. It's like the more I think about it now, the more mad I get. I'm just like, fucking.
Wait, did the movie use the Tubular Bells song?
They kind of snuck it in a little bit, like that old fucking, like in Creed. But like when Creed, they did the Rocky theme, like in the background. You're like, oh god, that's great. Fucking Exorcist, man. Come on.
Oh, man.
I'd rather watch fucking, I don't know. I'd rather watch Exorcist 3 or fucking Halloween 3.
I was going to say, I'd watch Halloween 3.
I'll fucking, I wish I put a fucking mask over my head when I saw that.
There's no Mike Myers. How do you call it Halloween with no Mike Myers? I don't fucking get it.
We tried to go into
it's
it.
Like Friday the 13th without freaking Freddy.
Well,
Jason. Because I was
it's thinking, like a Friday the 13th without Jason.
I was thinking Nightmare on Elm Street without Freddy.
Nightmare Before Christmas. It's like fucking Nightmare on Elm Street without Jack Skelton. And what the fuck, man? No Friday the 13th and no fucking Freddy Krueger.
Well, not to get too far off the topic because I know we're wrapping up, but have you watched any of that VHS?
No, I've watched some. Those are really good anthologies.
Yeah, well, they're going to space.
No, they're not.
The next one is in space.
Stop it.
I'm not. You know what? You heard it here. VHS, the new movie VHS in space.